Hello, everybody. So, who wants to start? I guess, are we going to have Solar up here asking us a few good questions? You going to give us some zingers?
So we are happy to have both Ronny and Sylvain because they're really great pioneers in location-based entertainment and working on two different types of works, but on warehouse scale. So what you cannot have at home in any case. So the idea is to kind of exchange to see what is your strategy, what is your vision for location-based, and how you're going to implement this. So we can start like this. So maybe we start with Ronny. You have a few slides that you want to introduce before the panel. So I'll let you start.
So I'm Ronny from Kenson Studios. If you don't know the company, we are a next-generation storyteller, meaning that we use whatever technology that is available to tell our stories. That can be in a book. We have IP that starts as a children's book, develops into an app, develops into a VR game, and for that concept, Theo and Leonie, we are also in pre-production stage for a TV series, an animated series. Now, we did not have the ultimate storytelling facility available because they don't exist yet. And Cecilia mentioned two facilities like The Void and Zero Latency that are not open for us to tell our stories. So we developed it on our own. So the next big thing for Kenson Studios is called Kenson Arena. It's a franchise-based, location-based, out-of-home entertainment-based system that we will launch the first one in Zurich in late August, beginning of September, depending on the construction approval. I have one slide to show you, just that you get a view on the scale of the facility. If you could put that up, please. It's 450 square meters in total, whereas 240 square meters are gaming area. So we have a complete unobstructed gaming area, 13.5 meters by 18, that we can use to create whatever experience is possible. And this is what it is all about for us, to have the space available to create something that you can't experience at home.
And Sylvain,
So yeah, to follow up on that, I think that one of the reasons I would say why we are developing this kind of out-of-home experiences is so first of all because we are able to create really cool experiences with these kind of systems that go far beyond what you're being able to do at home with your Vive or Oculus or something like that. I think that's because you can make things much more immersive with multiple users and turn that into a social and fun experience at the same time, that it opens up a lot of possibilities. And yeah, one of the concerns around VR was the isolating aspect, and I believe that we all want to, at some point, get somewhere with friends or your family and enjoy some interesting experiences. And with the technologies that we have today, we're basically able to travel through wherever you want and live any kind of experiences that you could possibly imagine. And as Ronny was saying, allow you to basically live what you could never live otherwise in the real world.
what is the economic potential of this type of experiences compared to the regular distribution that you get on Steam or Viveport or Oculus, for instance?
So I think that for out-of-home experiences, the kind of business models are more close to movie theaters or arcades, like it used to. It still exists, but it was much stronger at some point. And I think they will both cohabitate. There could also be some links between the experiences that you can do at home and the experience with added value, I would say, that you would only be able to do in location-based centers. And yeah, I think that there is a huge ask, I would say, for these kind of things. So maybe not necessarily. I mean, if you think at countries like Japan or China, for example, where, I mean, no one has a living room where you can install a Vive with a 4 meter by 4 meter tracking, etc., etc. So they will not have the choice if they want to get to a very immersive experience than to get out of their home and go to somewhere, to some place, and yeah, have an experience in one of these locations.
I come at it a completely different way. I'm with a company called Real Effects. We're an animation studio, and we create VR content. So we're content creators. There's incredible groups like you guys that are creating physical locations, which I think is, if I was to say 2 areas that I think, or 3 areas, AI, AR, and then I call them LBEs, or location-based entertainment. Because we come from the theme park business as well, we work with theme parks doing theme park rides, etc. All of those disciplines of creating animated content, storytelling, original content, working with studios on bigger feature films, we're positioning ourselves to be content creators to be able to serve the needs of a variety of LBEs that'll advance over the next few years. There'll be smaller domes, smaller footprints. We're already doing that. We're approaching every project, whether it's a film project that we're creating a VR content piece for, we're considering the location-based entertainment, or the LBE version of that, while we're creating the VR. So we're coming at it a little bit different. Hopefully these guys get so busy that they're gonna need real cool original ideas, and original content might not be licensed from the same studios that we both do work with, but there could be an original content piece that we're creating that's compelling. So we're kind of a content company that's positioning ourselves to be to serve the LBE space, which I think is going to, over the next 2 years, we're going to just blow it out. It's an exciting area.
I'd like to come back to the economic aspect that you just mentioned. For us, the difficulty, because we also create a lot of content, for us the difficulty at the moment is that to adapt it to the different platforms. So there are already many arcades out there, but each of those has a different setup, a different size, different technology. Some only run Unity, some only run Unreal. For us, the standardization part is important. You need a few locations that it makes sense to develop content, because most of them have a royalty model on the ticket, so you don't get a big lump sum investment up front. You need to have at least 5 locations where your content is run, that it makes sense from a financial standpoint. And for us, we go both ways. We say we create original content, we do what is possible with our hardware, but we are also open for any other game studio worldwide to develop content for us. And from the start, you will be able to run it in multiple places and actually make money out of it. And I think this is important. You saw the last 2 days, a lot of discussions were about money and how to make money out of the content, because we are still in the phase where a lot of investment money is pouring in and not a lot of companies are actually making money.
I was wondering also, so we compared with movie theaters, but well, in the cinema you don't need that much manpower and you can accommodate 500 people in 2 hours. I mean, we can go and test your amazing work back there at the markets, but we have many people to help. Like, how many people there is at your booth? 4, 6 to help?
To help, yes.
Yeah, so we have 4 people to help, and only 4 people can try for 20 minutes. So how would you solve this equation?
So basically you need to automate everything. It needs to be like, how do you call these things, these attractions in the shopping malls. You turn it on and it works. Systems management is a key component. An operation console that works, that autocorrects, is a key component to get the head count down of people that help. For us, the challenge that we have, by the way, we have 2 games running that you can try. We have 2 games that you can try now, Boost. One is the private version for you at home that we run. The problems that we have at the moment are more on this side, because the system, the HTC Vive, is not designed to run in that fashion. For the other side, where we run a little Kenzan Arena, this side is working fine, and you need less personnel to operate it.
So yeah, I mean, it's a problem in some sense that, yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's not a problem, but that's something that needs to be solved if you want to make money out of those kind of centers. So yeah, as Ronny was mentioning, I mean, one key element is to automate as much as possible the process, the flow of people, and so on and so on. And then there are also very interesting questions on the creative side as well. How you design an experience so that people don't get lost or need permanent assistance from an operator or something like that. So yeah, it's a lot of very interesting problematics with tons of ways to solve it and how to guide players to where you want at some point, because yeah, what's very important is that you don't accommodate a lot of players at the same time, but you want a continuous output and people constantly going on and out of these things so that the occupation of these installations is maximum. So you don't want at some point one person to, for an experience that is designed for 10 minutes or something like that, to get stuck at some point and then stay in the room for 30 minutes because he was not able to solve that part of the puzzle or something like that. So it brings a lot of limitation and interesting problematic to the creation part, I would say.
You know, there's so many subcategories of this area which are exciting to see being developed. There's in LA, there's a center called the IMAX VR Center, which just started. And you know, for all of us, it's a great proof of concept because in theme park terms, it's called throughput. You model your business by throughput. How many people can you put through a particular experience? You know, if you're being really insensitive about it, the theme park guys call it a people pump, which is you get them and how do you get them in and out so that they have a great experience, but it hits your revenue numbers. And what I liked about the IMAX VR Center is, I mean, they're taking John Wick, they're taking existing VR content, and they have, I think, is it 8 or 10 small bays. They're about 4x4s with half walls around them. But what they've created are small elements or instead of, like for John Wick, they created a gun, you know, and so you have a physical gun, or small haptics, small things that can enhance the experience so it feels a little bit more experiential than just, say, a VR experience. It's not this and it's not that, but it's somewhere in between, but you've got 8 or 10 that are being booked like a movie theater. So that's a whole other area as well, you know. Again, these guys are at a completely different level, but I think something like an IMAX VR Center or some of the smaller footprints, we're about to do a deal with a group it's very small, it's about 15 small units, and we're doing a split rev with them, but it's very simple. And we don't know if we'll see if it works. We're taking the risk as well because it just doesn't have the draw that one of the centers that these guys are doing has either, so we'll see where that goes.
In the end, it comes down to how many players you get through on the space that you have. And we basically made reverse engineering how many minutes can we let a person play, how much should that cost, and how much space should the person occupy. In our view, that should be around 2.5 by 2.5 meters play area, because you need security space around the person, that you don't want to have person bump into each other. And then you define the minutes and you get to a similar, this is interesting, a similar square meter usage as for a cinema, as for at the movies, because you have a shorter play time than the movies.
And I'm curious, how can you explain, I mean, you're both Swiss, Ronny and Sylvain. How can you explain that such a small country, Switzerland, was able to make such amazing content like what you're doing? Because I don't want to compare, but there's a very famous brand, I'm not going to name them, which is American, that's getting a lot of press. So I went to try their stuff at their center. And when I compared to what, for instance, Sylvain, you are doing, I was kind of disappointed by the American version because I couldn't see my whole body. I was like really, it was a bit disappointing. I almost had shivers in front of the center. I was like, wow, I'm going to live something so amazing. And I was like, oh no, okay, I've got something better in Switzerland. So how can you explain that?
Well, first of all, I think that Switzerland is a very active country and very innovative country because its population is well trained and skilled and so on, and that the global economic conditions are very good. That allows people like us to develop interesting things, and maybe with a focus maybe a bit different from what everyone is doing. So if we think at, for example, the approach that we took to develop this system, so when we started working on that, I mean, everyone was just basically creating simple VR apps where you're seated in your chair, completely isolated and so on. And we could have started doing something like that, but because we were a research center doing something different, I would say, we had the possibility to experiment new things and somehow dream a little bit and try to create the dream VR setup or something like that, and that worked very well. I think that some aspect also is that so the Swiss government is also helping a lot VR companies in Switzerland with initiatives like Pro Helvetia or something like that, that gives the possibilities to developers and companies to showcase their work. For example, with also Swiss Next initiative to bring Swiss companies to where things are happening in the VR business and where money is as well. So San Francisco or other location. So I guess it's a combination of all those elements that allows Switzerland to be one of the big player in the VR world.
It's people.
So I have no comment. They're kicking our butts there.
I think it's just good people finding their way together, innovation, the two universities that we have that support, and the government, as you mentioned, that has also an influence.
But I think there is something that we can definitely learn from the Americans is how to package a product. Because, so the other company I was comparing to, because I think the packaging, the communication was so good that even though you haven't tried it, you don't know what it is, you want it real bad. And I think maybe it's
branding.
Yeah, branding.
That's what they're good at. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think it's something definitely that we need to learn. And do you think this is something, what will change now that you have American investment, Sylvain?
Well, I mean, for us, it's, now we also have that component, I would say, in our company. So the team we have in Los Angeles is amazing, and there are very skilled and talented people that are, as you say, able to really package very well the offer, I would say. And in the end, that's one of the most important things, I would say, is how you present and market your solution and how you create your brand and so on. So it's where the United States and Americans in general are very strong at. And the ability also to, when they see something in which they believe, to do it very fast and very big, which makes it success.
Yeah, so
Scale.
I see a great, scale, So I see a great potential for more collaboration between the US, America, and China. It would be a nice trinity.
And I would add taking risks also. Mm-hmm. We don't have a risk culture in investment here to make something really big. The US have that.
All Americans think they're cowboys. But it's true, I think that's important, no risk, no reward. But I think the idea is, the interesting thing is that branding a bad product still makes it a successful product often, which is kind of sad, right? But, being able to see the branding focus that these guys are going to take, and you have a new entry that has all the pros that we've already talked about. It's flexible, it's scalable. There's so many advantages. That gives you pole position, and there could be collaborations like that too. And it's also the content. What are the experiences like? Whether you're opening with one of the license deals or an original piece or both. That's kind of the strategy.
If we talk about branding, maybe Chuck, you want to say a word about the work you've done with American Express? Because I think this was really amazing with Mara Sharapova. And it's kind of location-based in a way.
Yeah, that's, again, we came at it differently, is that pretty much every one of our big studio projects or brand projects typically had some physical activation to it. So for American Express, a couple years ago, American Express was a sponsor for US Open, and we did the Maria Sharapova, you versus Sharapova experiences, where we lied or mocapped her, and it was a crazy technical challenge, but the idea was you could play against Maria Sharapova and go up levels and finally try to return her serve, and most people couldn't. it was such a new and cool, and it's simple in haptics in your controller to be weighted like a tennis racket and a few other things. And it had 9,000 people went through it during the US Open, and it got 1 billion impressions. Now that was early on in VR too, but the physical experience was what they were there for. That's what drew them in. We delivered on the promise with a really cool experience. And I think that's going to be the difference maker, is that these are big flowers that I watched at the little IMAX VR center. I sat there one day and I watched people come off the street because all they saw was VR. They saw that it was easily accessible, and they came in and people were all day long ready to spend. So people are ready. We got to deliver on the promise of not only the physical footprint and experience, but the content they're experiencing. And then they're going to keep coming back. And to be able to make it easy, super important.
Yeah, I think that, with those experiences and systems, you're almost able to live a theme park experience in a shopping mall or a movie theater or something like that for the price of a movie ticket. So in terms of experience and feeling and so on, those kinds of experience are very strong, and that's what will drive people to come, try, and then come again because they enjoyed it a lot.
So, thank you very much. And also, Alex, can you play because Chuck had a video this morning that we couldn't play, so we'd like to play it now, if possible, from his team.
It's a consolation prize.
So if you can play that. Yeah? Now they're going to play it.
All right.
And any questions also while they put the video? Maybe one question we could take?
The whole video went out for me. When I did my presentation.
We know
The
it?
whole thing went out,
No?
so I had to wing it. Okay, the whole video went out. If you weren't here earlier, they pulled the plug on the video and I had to wing it. So this is the consolation prize, I guess. So the whole idea basically was content in VR, when you can take a look at a piece of content and it's super exciting and it's super entertaining, and you can't tell if it's a VR experience or if it's a short or if it's a theatrical piece, we've done our job. This is a piece we just debuted at Tribeca called Dolby, for Dolby Atmos. We had to create an original piece, complete from scratch, and the idea was just make sure to mix it in Dolby Atmos and show how Dolby looks at it. So here's the piece. Thank you for the consolation.
In the back of the beyond, from one of a storm to another, a cavernous unknown for the sea to survive, always search. I must silent man up, cause every bone in my body's got nowhere left. And when the strength bleeds out, it's the hopes and the dreams that hold on. From your trigger, happy lies, I'll give in to love. days you vanish me and I disappear from view. But our enemies live within, so I sit pretty in the heart of you. The magic of me, you kill me but I only get stronger. The magic of me, am I everything that's wrong in this world? I feel my secret weapon fire from your every trigger, happy liar. I'll give in to love and save yourself if you give in to love.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup.